Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the July 20th Board of Trustee meetings. Motion to return from exec session.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Ms. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, and we are going to have a special young man, Adam Jansen. I assume one of you are him, who's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't mind. And you can do it right from there, young man.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job.
All right. Before we get to the fun stuff, presentations, we're going to do the really fun stuff, which is have a public hearing about our 2018.
I move to adopt
Oh,
the
sorry.
agenda.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Ms. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Now.
Okay. Now we'll do a public hearing on the 2018 preliminary tax budget. Ken?
Thank you. As we say every year at this time, we're trying to predict what's going to happen next year, going all the way into December of 2018. But our requirement with the county auditor, and it's a good exercise, is to come up with a preliminary budget. And the staff, the administration, the department heads, my staff have been working on this for many, many months. And we've come up with a budget, and it is, I have to remind everybody, it's a budget. There are a lot of things in that budget that are different than they have been in the past. Some of the things that we have switched, we have changed the administration costs to the departments, which we feel like that's the right thing to do, so their budgets are going to be a little bit higher than they used to be. We have asked the county auditor to take some of the inside millage that the Public Works Department has and switch it to the general fund, because the general fund has like 1 mill, and that's just not enough to sustain us with all the cuts we've had. We've taken 1.06 mills and switched it to the general fund, which will enable us to get through a few more years in that area. And we've taken some of the money that's been charged to Public Works on resurfacing of roads, sidewalks, and things like that, and we've switched that to the TIF budget, which we are allowed to do because it's something that is allowed by the TIF legislation. So there's been many changes. The other thing is we have the fire and rescue and the sheriff's public safety levy passed last year, so we're taking that lump sum of money and trying to figure out exactly what the percentage of that public safety money would do for the sheriff and the fire and rescue, and we decided that if the sheriff got a third of it and fire and rescue got the 2/3, that would carry us into like another 5-year period where we won't have to ask for another levy. So we're not just talking about apples and apples with this budget, we're talking about a lot of different changes. And the trustees have before them a budget that comes in many millions of dollars over what it's been in the past. Most of that money is pass-through money. We're getting a lot more money from the TIF programs, which we funnel into the school districts to the tune of Cincinnati School District gets $1.5 million from us a year that they didn't receive in the past. Forest Hill School District is accumulating like another $1.5 million over the last couple of years, which they deserve because we made them whole on all of the TIF programs that we've had in the past. So the numbers look a little skewed, but most of that money is pass-through money. We had Belterra Park come on, which the Cincinnati School District is involved in, and that generated another $1.5 million in expenditures for us. We have another $1.6 million in TIF revenues that have come in the last couple of years. In the general fund, we made some changes. Actually, last year, we bought a Quint out of the general fund, and so that makes things look a little skewed. We bought some other vehicles because we got some money from Belterra, and that was almost $1 million and a change there. And then most of the service funds are just slightly higher than they've been in the past when you put it all together from the money that we spent out of different funds. So I would ask the trustees to take a look at that budget, which I know they already have, and to pass a summary budget that I need to report to the county auditor's office of $44,107,085. Historically, we will not spend that. We come in 5 to 10% below budget, but there are a lot of items in there that we just are not sure how much are going to cost us. So in order to not make changes to the funds and the balances during that year in 2018, we've, because of the levies passing, we have the funds to say this is what our budget is, and we balance with the county auditor. So, any questions?
Not from this board, but this is a public hearing, so if anyone would like to comment or has questions about the preliminary tax budget for 2018, now would be the time to come forward and do that. Jim? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And do we have a motion?
I move to adopt the 2018 preliminary summary budget, tax budget, as presented by Ken Dietz.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Ms. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes, thanks, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to presentations and recognitions, and the first one is very cool. A young man in the audience, Adam Jansen. Vicki is going to do the honors of introducing him.
Hi, Adam. Okay, I understand Gretchen Jansen is your aunt, correct? Yes, okay. We received a lovely email, and I'm going to read it to you because I can't do it any better than she did. Adam Jansen recently saved his younger half-brother, Tucker Jansen, from a near-drowning incident. The boys were kayaking with life jackets on, good thing. The kayak tipped over, and his younger brother was trapped underneath. Adam kept a clear head and was able to lift the heavy kayak up enough to free Tucker from underneath. A fun afternoon would have quickly turned out much differently if Adam had not kept such a calm, level head and acted so quickly. So for that, the Board of Trustees would like to recognize you tonight. Adam, if you'd like to come up.
Adam, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, Anderson Township, we present you with the certificate of recognition. Very nice, young man. Well done. Here, why don't you, you're forward here so your parents can get a wonderful picture. All right. We're now going to move into the 2017 Beautification Awards. We give these awards out every year to residents, businesses alike who do a wonderful job of keeping up their property. So, Sarah, you're up.
For the last couple of months, the Anderson Township Betterment and Beautification Committee has been accepting nominations for the 2017 Beautification Awards. The committee this year will be distributing 4 awards. The first award recognizes outstanding landscape and garden design for non-residential properties. The second award celebrates dramatic commercial site improvement since January 2016. And the third award recognizes outstanding landscaping for common areas in residential neighborhoods. And the fourth award recognizes private residential properties for outstanding curb appeal. This program was announced in Anderson Insights and on the website and Facebook page. Nominations were received until June 6th. And on June 8th, the committee made its final recommendations for award winners. The following winners are, for outstanding landscape design, non-residential, we have Belterra Park at 6301 Kellogg Road. For site improvement, we have the Anderson Professional Center at 7681 Beachmont Avenue.
Jim Nyer, thank you very much.
For outstanding residential design public spaces, we have the Winds of Anderson. And for outstanding landscape design private residence, we have 6085 Stirrup Road. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And I really do appreciate it. Keeping up with your, whether it's commercial or residential, really goes a long way, so we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hard time parking, sorry.
And I get the privilege tonight to award on the Great Tree Award for Anderson Township. The Anderson Township Street Tree Committee, a couple years ago, decided to recognize what we would call special or award-winning trees. They are hand-chosen by individuals sent in as photographs. Those photographs are taken. Every tree is looked at. The trees are evaluated in their species. To be honest with you, there are many great trees in Anderson Township, and of course a lot of these great trees deserve a great story. So some of these you're going to hear tonight. On staff we have Trustee D. Stone, myself, Paul Drury, who's not here tonight, and Suzanne Klingman. And then we have a dedicated group of volunteers that sits on this committee with us to help us make these decisions. The first award winner tonight is Shade Tree, which is a Dawn redwood tree. It is located at the end of the parking lot at the Withrow Nature Preserve. If you've not been to this location, I would encourage you. I'm going to save you the reading on the species because it'll be painful. But the massive tree is located at the west end of the parking lot of the Withrow Nature Preserve. It was planted in 1950 by former residents Andrew and Adelaide Withrow. In 1983, it was the second in size to the state champion Dawn redwood that was at Spring Grove Cemetery. So tonight our great shade tree award goes to, oh, Dee already has it, thank you, the Dawn redwood. Is anyone here from the park? Oh, thank you.
Yay.
Hey, Jack.
Thank you. I don't think we'll be driving through that anytime soon, Jack, do you? Or, but if you have not seen this tree, please lay eyes on it. It is a beautiful tree.
I took my family picture there one year because it's such a pretty tree.
Our second category is in the ornamental tree category. And this is a beautiful specimen of a flowering dogwood. This is located at the property of the Gecki family. They moved into their current home on 8 Mile. This tree sits on 8 Mile now, and it was kind of in bad shape, but they've worked on it over the years, trimmed it. If you've ever had a dogwood, there's a love that goes into them just to keep them looking good. That's about as much beauty as you can get out of a flowering dogwood. But with that, they've thinned it out and cared for it over the years, and what you have before you there is that beautiful specimen. And I believe the Gecki family is here tonight to accept that award. You don't trim?
Congratulations, Bob.
You didn't know he was a man of
I didn't know. I had no idea.
Next category are Evergreen Tree. This is a beautiful specimen of some Norway spruces. Not only do they have 30-plus years of age on them, but they were actually part of the original design for a subdivision. When you look in the plans of a subdivision, it'll say green tree buffer. Well, this was a green tree buffer that was planted for that subdivision some 30 years ago. And what you see here is a cluster of Norway spruces. This is in Charlene Walsh's side yard at 919 8 Mile, planted in 3 succession years during the 1960s after having served as live Christmas trees in the Walsh's homes. They have stood the test of time. These trees are a testament to the fact that Norway spruces are considered the most reliable and carefree large evergreen. So what you have there is many years of love. So they're our award winner tonight for the evergreen. Anyone here? All right. I'll hit the last one. Our last category is Tree Grove. This particular grove I know is on Watch Hill Lane. I'll read you the impressive grove here. Is one of several fine examples in the township of how beauty and the cooling shade of a mature tree canopy can benefit the residential landscaping. So the grove winner there is at 721 Watch Hill Lane. And probably what you had here was many years ago planted on both sides of the driveway. But you see what it does. And I'm sorry, we don't have your name listed here on paper.
Sinclair.
Sinclair, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Would you like to add? 1935, there you go. Wow. All right, so, and I can tell you, on the top of that hill, those stand the test on storms. We lose a lot of trees in that area when the storms come through, because it's right at the, kind of at the top of a hill there, so to speak. But those right there must be strong trees. So that's all we have for tonight. Thank you. Struck by lightning.
Oh, really?
Well, that's why urban street trees deserve an award. They are hardier trees than normal trees. Thank you for your time, and thank you for participation.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
John's here from the committee. Anybody else from the street?
I just saw John.
John's on the committee. Thank you, John.
Good day.
Jim, how do the prospects look for that new building?
Well, we hired a new leasing team. So,
Okay. A lot of pressure then, I'm sure. Thanks for coming. Okay, at this time, we set aside time in our meetings for public forum, so individuals that wish to address this board may do so at this time. If there's anyone out there? Paul? Nothing?
You too? Are you working on a merit badge? Got it. Thought so.
All right, trustee comments. Feel free to start.
You want me to start?
Sure.
It's just, I'm glad that we had a spout of good weather. We're getting a lot of projects done. Is that correct, Richard?
Yeah, we're squeezing them in between the raindrops.
And it's just, we're now in the dog days of summer. I just want everyone, I know that construction is frustrating to everybody up and down Beachmont Avenue, but let's keep our eye on the big picture and have a good, safe summer. That's all I've got.
I just want to say, if you haven't seen it yet, apparently the Bengal sculpture has been installed. We finally got one from one of the countywide sculptures, so I'm pretty happy about that. It's over in front of the old Caribou, apparently, right? It's in front of Pyology. Oh, good, okay, great. And I think if you take a picture there and hashtag it, I don't know, it goes into some contest or something, maybe.
To win tickets to the Bengals game?
I don't think so, but that would be nice. Maybe we should offer that up. So-
But on August 18th, we will have a block party there with the Bengals. They'll have Houday and the Bengals, and they will be giving away some prizes. And you can go to the Bengals website, and there's information about where the 8 sculptures are located, and opportunities to take your photo. And we hope that when people go out and take their photo in front of the Bengals sculpture, they also show their Anderson pride.
Yes.
You know?
Right. That's it. We should have more pictures than anyone.
Yes.
From Anderson, so,
And now it's a contest.
that's right.
Thanks, Dee. The 5 Mile Trail Many people are familiar with the 5 Mile Trail. Many people use the 5 Mile Trail. It's now 10 years old, which is pretty impressive. Doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but that is the result of the vision and planning of our citizen committee, the TAC committee, and it's great, and it's kind of the foundation of the Anderson Trails project. So 10 years old for the trail. And the other thing I want to mention is that on August 3rd, the evening of August 3rd at 7 o'clock, we will finally be dedicating the Veterans Memorial out back of the building that we're sitting in, the Anderson Center. So if you're listening out there, please be sure to spread that word. We'd like to get as many people as possible to join us for that event.
It's at 7, right?
7 o'clock, Thursday, August 3rd. Fiscal Officer Report.
Thank you. As we always say this time of year, our revenues are in and they're up because we just got our tax collection payments from the county auditor's office, so they're a little bit higher than the average would be. That will settle down toward the end of the year, but hopefully at the end of the year we will have a 5 or 10% over what was anticipated in revenues for all the funds. The expenditures are under budget, and once again I say hopefully that'll last until the end of the year. We always try to come in 5 to 10% below on expenditures, so those reports are looking good. No appropriation changes, and I see we have quite a few minutes to approve.
Let me take this? I move to approve the minutes of April 20th, 2017, May 4th, 2017, May 18th, 2017, June 6th, 2017, June 8th, 2017, and June 22nd, 2017.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Planning and zoning, no report. Okay.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Good evening. Just have a few house cleaning items here. They are all liquor permit transfers.
All liquor.
Yes, 3 of them. First one is a request from Caskets and Cocktails, LLC. I think that's kind of...
We dealt with this last time. I remember making me laugh the last time we did this.
Doing business as Varsity Sports Bar and Grill and Patio, located 8112 Beachmont Avenue. We have no objections to the physical location.
I can't. I move not to object to a liquor license transfer request for Caskets and Cocktails LLC, DBA The Varsity Sports Bar and Grill and Patio, located at 8112 Beachmont Avenue.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Next is a new request for a liquor license for Layla Mediterranean LLC, located at 7418 Beachmont Avenue, Unit 106 and Patio. There are no objections to this license as well.
I move not to object to a new liquor license request for Layla Mediterranean LLC, located at 7418 Beachmont Avenue, Unit 106 and Patio.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Lastly, there is a new request for liquor license for Ambiance Nail Salon, 6 LLC, doing business as Ambiance Nail Salon, located at 7636 Beachmont. There are no objections to this either.
I move not to object to a new liquor license request for Ambiance Nail Salon, 6 LLC, Ambiance Nail Salon, located at 7636 Beachmont Avenue.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
The only other thing I had to add is obvious, we had some media attention this week for an unfortunate incident on Honeywood Court. It was an incident that pretty much opened and closed in a short period of time. I spoke with Township Administrator and kept her apprised of the investigation as it was going on. It's a very unfortunate incident for that family. We appreciate the support of the township and of the community as we work through this. The detectives, they got called in about 2 in the morning, and I know firsthand that some of our officers worked very long hours, but the detectives came in at 2 in the morning and they worked till midnight. They worked 22 hours straight wrapped everything up, made sure everything was done the right way, and then they went home, got about 4 or 5 hours sleep, came back in, dusted off the cobwebs, and dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's to make sure that they can prepare for successful prosecution in this. But again, this is another example of how the partnership between your government entity and our agency just work well together.
And if I may add to that, years ago when we were going through the discussion of whether or not we should start our own police department or continue with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, this is just another reason why we made the right choice. They are very professional, and the resources are there when we need it.
I'd like to add that it was very reassuring to see how quickly that came to resolution, because, you know, that's...
A viable suspect became apparent fairly early on. I mean, there were other options, but it became apparent fairly early on, and they followed that lead, and it was very fortunate that the timing happened so quickly. Yeah, and I give credit to the detectives that worked that case. There was a team between the evidence techs and detectives. There were probably about 16 guys working 22 hours straight on that.
Well, it was very reassuring to see you close it that quickly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. All good, Richard?
Unless you guys have any questions?
I don't think so.
Yes, sir.
Just, you've had some questions about microsurface overlay. Do you want to do a quick, just to remind residents how that saves us a phenomenal amount of money, just really quickly, or?
Well, I think the confusion comes in for residents sometimes that they believe it's a product that we use to take the place of paving, and that's not the case. It's just using the right product at the right time. This material is applied to streets that are not ready for paving yet. And so it allows us to buy that time or push us into that external window, but the application of that material is a preventative maintenance material that extends the life of the existing pavement and keeps us from the further expense. It is about 50, 60 cents on the dollar of paving, so that's why we try to stay, but it's not a quasi-cheap alternative to paving. It's used because it's the right material at the right time at the right place, and so that's why we use it. It extends our road life. It's a preventative measure, and done at the right time and done at the right application. It's a very good product. People get a little concerned about the look, the coloring, the roughness. All of that smooths out in a few months. By design, the material comes off the top of the existing surface, and you have a very smooth, uniformed, even matte when it's all done. But we're excited about that product. It's been on the market for almost 10 years. We use it. Other townships use it on a regular basis. We have over 100 streets in Anderson now treated with this material.
My street's one of them, and I'd like to say it's extended the life.
Yeah, and that's all it's meant to do. It's not meant to take an alternative to paving. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Chief?
Good evening. First item on the agenda is an ISO rating announcement. Just wanted to let the board and the public know that the Insurance Service Office rates fire departments for the underwriters so they can classify us on what they would charge for insurance. That's what it really comes down to. So the goal in life is to end up with a good rating. And we just completed our 7th review since 1982. And one of the reasons we went through the review, as the board is well aware, in January of 2016 we started providing service to the village of Newtown, so we made some changes there, moved into a different fire station, notified ISO before we made the move that we were going to make some changes. And in that, we were then recently came up on our cycle to be reviewed. So what it is basically, not to bore you too much with the details, but your emergency communications is on a scale of 100 is 10%. Your fire department itself accounts for 50%, and your water supply accounts for the other 4. Well, we don't control our water supply. We work greatly with Cincinnati Water Works, and we have almost 3,000 hydrants. So we maintain them, Public Works services them, you know, we kind of control them, but the water is controlled by somebody else. So with that said, our rating improved. We went from a score of 74.64 up to 76 points. What that is, we're still classified as a 3. We've improved. 1 is the best. So right now, some of the changes we made by moving into the Village of Newtown with that station, enhancing our operations, moving the station a little closer to some of our response areas has greatly improved. We received excellent credits for pre-planning of our buildings, our inspections that we do with our company at our fire stations, our personnel on duty, and our enforcement. So basically, we continue to monitor that, but it all really can't happen unless the board and the public allow it to happen. A good example was mentioned earlier about, through our fiscal office, about the levy being passed. Well, that allows us to have 4 stations staffed with 17 career people a day, making over 5,000 calls a year, and obviously those are not fire responses. But, so I just want to make sure that if there was any questions that the board had about that process, we continue to work towards improving. But we've gone from a 5 in 1982 down to a 3, and we continue to improve.
Thanks, Chief.
Any questions? All right, thank you for that. Next is the resolution to authorize the sale of a surplus ambulance. We have 2 of them that are in surplus, and in March we brought it to board's attention that we needed to put minimum bids on those, and we did. 2 years ago, when we had ambulances that needed to be sold, traded or whatever, we could hardly get rid of them. This time we put a minimum bid on a 2007 model at $7,500, and little did we know there was a lot of interest out there, so we ended up working through a informal process, and you have in front of you a resolution to sell an older cot that we have and this ambulance for $25,000 to the city of Hamilton, who is in desperate need of a spare because of all the calls. So with that said, unless you have any questions on it, the resolution's in front of you, and you'd like to...
I move to authorize the sale of surplus equipment to the City of Hamilton, Ohio pursuant to a contract authorized by Section 505.101 of the revised code.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Okay, unless you have any questions?
Thanks, Chief.
That's all I have. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Vicki?
The first item, just to announce that Greater Anderson Days will be held on July 28th, 29th, and 30th. This is a partnership between the Anderson Park District, the Anderson Foundation for Parks and Rec, the Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce, and this board. There were 3 days full of activities. There's going to be the annual fireworks show on Sunday night, which is at 9:45, and I know that's a huge hit for our residents. It's sponsored by the Beachmont Automotive Group again, so we invite everyone to come and see us. We will have a booth, and we will be able to answer any questions about different projects or things such as black mat or the ISO rating or construction on Beachmont Avenue. So we will have staff there all 3 nights. There is one resolution before you regarding the amendment to our agreement with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office for Police Protection Services. The agreement that we currently have is still in effect until March of next year, but this would provide an amendment that would give the sheriff a little bit more flexibility in scheduling the traffic safety officers. The 2 traffic safety officers that this board contracts for are specialty officers, and that's why they're called out separately in the agreement. Again, this would just give a little bit more flexibility, and staff's recommendation that the board consider this amendment.
I move to adopt a resolution authorizing execution of amendment to agreement for police protection services.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. There's one item arising from executive session discussions, and that would be a motion for the board to appoint Eric Miller as a representative of the Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce to the Anderson Township Economic Development Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Girth?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all we have this evening.
Thank you, Vicki. The next board meeting will be August 17th 2017, at 6 o'clock in this room. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Pappas?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Gert?
Yes, thank you, everybody.